Have you ever been caught in a jam? Well, in today's English story, I am going to teach you what it means to be caught in a jam. And so I want you to get ready for some learning and some laughter. And you can read along with me as I will place today's story down in the description. Let's dive into today's lesson. Brenda loved the city library, where shelves were stacked with every kind of book. She wandered through the quiet aisles, eyeing a row of shiny new novels. So, when a person wanders, it describes a person that does something aimlessly. They have no particular plan. There is no set schedule. They may go to the right. They may go to the left. They may go back to the right. They're just here, there, and everywhere, wandering around, or as we say, wandering aimlessly. Feeling a sudden impulse, she slipped 2 books into her backpack. So when someone has an impulse, they have a strong urge to do something, and usually it's to do something quickly. So sometimes people have an impulse to eat certain foods. They have a desire to eat certain candies or sweets. So you may say, I have an impulse for some chocolate, or I have an impulse to go a certain place. Like, I really want to go shopping. That's a sudden impulse. Her heart raced as she walked toward the exit, pretending everything was normal. I've heard of people stealing food. I've heard of people stealing clothing. I've heard of people stealing cars. But have you ever heard of someone like Brenda stealing books? I remember when I was shopping at a particular store, there was a man that took a handful of clothes with the tags and security labels still on them and walked right out the store. He was moving quickly. The manager chased him into the parking lot, but he made it to his vehicle and sped away. So I've heard of people stealing all kinds of things, but never have I heard of anyone stealing books. I thought this was a unique story that I put together. So let's find out what happens to Brenda. Just as she reached the door, the security alarm gave a sharp blare. So a blare is a loud, harsh sound. Everyone in the room turned to look, and Brenda froze like a statue. A librarian hurried over, her expression filled with suspicion. So when someone is suspicious, they have a feeling of guilt or a feeling that someone has done wrong. So you might say, who ate the chocolate cake? And you would have a suspicion that your child did it because they had icing around their mouth. Suspicion. Brenda tried to explain, but her shaky voice only made her look more guilty. Soon, a police officer arrived, adding to the tension. Tension is a feeling of nervous pressure about a situation. So Coming home to an upset wife, there will be tension in the air. Getting in an argument with a person, and the next time you see them after the argument, there is tension in the air. You can have tension in a rope or in a chain where it's so tight, the pressure is so much, it feels as if it is going to break. Brenda's face turned red as she realized she was surrounded and caught. Instead of arresting her, the officer gave her a stern lecture. Now, I used lecture in one of my previous stories. A lecture is a serious talk or teaching. And oftentimes a serious lecture is meant to correct someone's thinking or behavior. So parents have lectures with their kids. Teachers have lectures with their students. So another way to describe what the police did to Brenda is that he let her off with a warning. So he gave her a slap on the hand. That's what we would call it, or a slap on the wrist. Just don't do that again. Brenda walked out of the library empty-handed, learning the hard way that stealing books was not worth it. Could you imagine going to jail and someone asking you, why are you here? What did you get arrested for? And your reply, man, I was stealing books. Well, that's going to do it for today's English lesson. I have taught you what it means to be in a jam. Okay, and so when someone is in a jam, they are in a serious predicament or situation. Sometimes you can be in a jam like Brenda because you did something wrong, or sometimes you can be in a jam just because of a certain situation. But remember, when you're in a jam, you have a big problem, okay? I hope you have enjoyed today's English lesson. If you have, be sure to share it with someone that's trying to improve their English. And as always, I hope you join me on my next English lesson. I'll see you then.